everybody.
Yep. So my name is Rudolph Oswani.
My name is Perpetual Paswani.
Yep.
Today we have a very exciting video. Yet another
As usual,
exciting
we've got
video.
you covered. You are our people. We have you covered.
I think this is my doing. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about 5 things that could kill a good relationship.
Yep. So we put up a poll on our closed group on Facebook, and that's the topic that they chose out of the 3 options we gave.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to just mention the fact that, you know, every good thing in our lives is at the mercy of our decision-making skills, if we may put it that way. So today we're going to be talking about those 5 things that you need to avoid in order for you to preserve a good relationship.
So stay tuned. See you on the other side.
So number one is pride. We're not talking about the pride of lions here. We're actually talking about the pride that sits in your heart.
Yeah.
So pride comes before a downfall or fall, as the Bible tells us. So whenever we harbor pride, when we allow pride to be nurtured in our hearts, we are likely to not see clearly, especially the things that we actually do wrong. Because pride comes from a puffed up spirit where you think of yourself more highly than you ought to, which is what the Bible tells us not to do, as it's defining love in 1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah.
So when we begin to puff ourselves up, we fail to see clearly, we fail to see ourselves in the appropriate measure of light, which can either be good or bad. So I think pride is also an inability to not only see the bad, but even sometimes to not see the good, which might not be seeing the good either in yourself, but especially in your partner as well. That's pride. So whenever we have pride in our relationships and we don't deal with it appropriately by giving ourselves a dose of humility, a dose of humble pie, meekness, I think it has the potential to really choke even a healthy relationship.
And just to add on, you know, as you were speaking, something just jumped at me. You know how, like, when we're teenagers and growing up, there's always this thing that we always talked about, how certain people were out of our league, you know, and I think that most of the pride is birthed from that place where you feel like you don't even deserve me, you know. So you treat this person a certain way because you feel from the get-go you have never deserved me. But if you're gonna do a relationship with somebody, if you say yes to somebody, or if you're gonna go after somebody, you mustn't feel like I'm above you, you know, you are replaceable. I could just up and go and I'll find somebody else, because it means there's already toxicity within your heart that can choke even a good relationship. You know, so most of the people will ask you to say, but like, can God give me someone I don't like? I don't think so. And if you feel that God is leading you towards a certain person and you do not feel that this is it for me, you're better off waiting in prayer to say, okay, Lord, if there's anything in me that's distracting me, help me see. Because you will go into this relationship saying, church boy, I didn't even want you in the beginning, and you're gonna treat this person badly. Or church girl, I didn't even want you in the beginning, you know. So that is a certain level of pride that we actually have to deliberately work on uprooting, thinking that I am way out of your league, or she is way out of my league. So we need to deal with that if we're going to do healthy relationships.
True. And I think, as you're speaking of healthy, there's nothing wrong in having a healthy sense of self-value and self-worth. There's nothing wrong with that. Knowing who you are, knowing what you deserve, knowing what you want, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think when, like you're saying, when it's not dealt or handled in a healthy manner, it has the potential to become toxic. It has the potential to become pride.
So number two, unforgiveness. You know, I believe that in relationships, marriage, relationships that are headed towards marriage, forgiveness is the fertilizer
Yeah.
on which the relationship thrives and is nourished.
Give us this day our daily bread. For healthy relationships, that daily bread
Forgiveness.
has to be forgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do a good relationship
Yeah.
and actually thrive in it, forgiveness should be on the table.
True.
And when we say forgiveness, we're not saying overlook unhealthy tendencies in each other or just make up excuses for unhealthy tendencies in each other,
Yeah.
but choosing to say, I forgive this person because they're a gift from God for me.
Yeah.
And they are not perfect.
Yeah.
We're not looking for perfection, because we'll only be perfect when we meet our King. Understanding that my partner might make a mistake, my partner might make me upset, my partner might miss it sometimes, but forgiving them means that we will move away from this, we will move forward from this, not always reminding the person, oh, even that time that's what you did, and so even that time. There are people who've got a book that they keep all the wrong. Of course, there are certain things that you can't resolve on your own, that you will need help in resolving, and sometimes the counselors will tell you, okay, the level at which you guys have hurt each other, you need to go through counseling and all that, but you must determine in your heart that I will forgive my person.
Very true. And I think as you were speaking, I think forgiveness really is about the heart. It's about a position that you take in your heart. Why? Because there are so many reasons that you could come up with not to forgive.
Yeah.
You could say so many things. But I think when you have made up your mind prior that I'm going to forgive, why? Because you know the heart of the person that you are in a relationship with. And you make up your mind that I'm going to forgive this person. I'm going to do life from a place of continuously extending grace one to another. It helps you to continuously flush your heart.
Wow.
So that, because I think unforgiveness graduates. It goes from, unforgiveness to resentment. Before you know it, you are completely bitter. Like you can't see anything good within the relationship, and yet in itself there's so much good in it. So I think that's really important.
And honestly, if you can't forgive, for the singles, this is your chance to, because marriage doesn't make the other person stop being human. Really, they will make mistakes. We're not saying cheating is acceptable, but they will make mistakes. They will offend you, you know. So if you can't forgive, you are not ready for the next level, basically.
Yeah. I think it's a check of your maturity and your ability to handle the weight that marriage comes with. Because you can imagine living with someone on a daily basis. You're with them sometimes 24/7. There's so much that they could do to offend you, and you need to be at a place of maturity to be able to forgive. When it comes.
And number three.
Number three is being strung on exes.
I'm sorry, people. This is again my doing.
Okay, but being I don't
being hung up on your ex.
Okay, hung up. Yeah, I honestly couldn't think of another way of putting it apart from hung strung. Yeah, but I think as we do relationships, that's why it's so important for you to not get into a relationship because you're lonely, because this guy has been pursuing you for a very long time, or because you are in the same class with this girl. It's convenient. Don't just get into relationships for the sake of convenience. Why? Because there are consequences that come with relationships. So now you are in a good relationship, you are in a godly relationship, and you can't seem to let go of all these experiences, most of which might have been very unnecessary, could have been avoided if maybe you waited, if you exercised wisdom, if you listened to your inner man. So at times what stops us from enjoying what we have now is because we are still so we're stuck on past experiences, basically.
And then also, like, on being hung up on exes, I think it's an area that people don't generally admit that look, I'm not over my ex. Okay, there are people who are brave enough to admit it, but even when they admit it, it's not from a healthy place.
Yeah.
It's like, he did this or she did this to me. I don't know if I can ever love again. And that limits anyone, really, even somebody that God would have brought in your life, from being a part of your life. You need to determine in your heart that when you break up with somebody, first of all, give yourself time to heal.
True.
Give yourself time to heal, because if you do not heal, everything that your next person does that remotely looks like your ex becomes a battlefield. And beyond that, it's also dealing with tendencies. I know, like, we're talking about being hung up on exes, but tendencies, like, sometimes also, this is a bonus, sometimes what can destroy a good relationship is those two little things that people do. When you have a problem with your person, you have somebody on your dial that you can chat with. He is not really, he's from the past, and most people do that with their exes. Where your ex, you even have this kind of thing where I can call him, he's gonna pick up, I'm gonna call her, she's gonna pick up. I remember a season in my life where somebody had so much control over me, an ex, where, like, even my friends one day asked him, Kuti, what, just leave this girl, we know she has no potential in her right now to walk away, so just leave her alone. This person would go and then come back when they just hear that I'm about to move on. So when you're hung up on your ex, everything is at the mercy of them, really. And so even when there's a good man right in front of you, I thank God that the Lord delivers me. Like, my last no was such a powerful no. I said no, and I meant it, and I never looked back. And I was so glad that I did, because it was just about the time that Pastor P was about to come into my life, and this person says, I'm not gonna mess with your faith, I'm gonna leave you to do whatever you want, but I just want to be in your life. And I was a bit confused, but I thank God that I said no. You need to say no to your exes, because there's nothing good from the past, unless if God restores the relationship, but he cannot restore the relationship while you're with somebody else. So it's either one or the other. So it can't be both. You're gonna figure out both of them. So being hung up on your exes.
And I think I think it's time. This would be a good time for everyone, whether you're in a relationship or not, as long as you have an ex out there in the worldie. As long as you have an ex, it's important for you to as long as you have an ex, it's important for you to assess the health of that breakup, because I've seen people who actually say that I've moved on, I'm good, I'm single, I'm happy, right? Or maybe they're even in a relationship and they're happy. Then there's this meme where they say, if imagine, let's say maybe someone is about to die or something, and they say, if you had to save your ex or something like that, would you do it? Have you seen those kind of memes? And people be like, no, even if it was my last whatever, hey, this. But where is all that coming from? If you're good, if you're good, if you're happy, if things are happening for you, you have moved on, but where is all this bitterness coming from?
Wow.
So it might seem as if it's just a joke, but if you really ended that relationship, like it's I believe it's almost like a cycle or circle that you need to complete with that full stop, like you're saying, with that no. The moment you complete it, you should be able to come back and look at it and say, that's done, that's complete, I'm good, he's good, we are moving on.
They don't have to be your enemy.
You shouldn't have to look at them and have all these negative emotions. Guess what? You will carry them either way into your next relationship. Even when you think that I'm negative towards my ex, but I'm good. You think you're good, but guess what? One way or the other, you are carrying that negative energy to that next relationship. So it's very important. Take time, go back, honestly assess how you are doing in that area of exes.
And not all men are your ex. Not all women are your ex. So please don't judge the entire species based on one person. Okay, moving on.
Number 4.
Number 4, misaligned expectations.
So important, guys.
I think this is so understated. Like when you're getting into a relationship, I think one of the conversations that people need to have is, what do I expect from you? What do you expect from me? Because most of the times we are just assuming that, you know what, he knows, she knows, this is gonna go this direction. But most of the time we then find ourselves so frustrated. You don't even know why you're arguing. Like there's no actual argument, but there's no peace. And you know that this is not who we are. This is not how we roll. What's going on, you know? It's because there are expectations that are misaligned. He's expecting this, you're expecting that. Or she's expecting that, you're expecting this. And because of that, you're just always not in tune, and two cannot work together unless they agree. So even your expectations have to agree, and sometimes our expectations are so unhealthy. Like I remember one time how, like, I just wanted my husband to be like, you know, the perfect everything. Like I don't expect anything less. But it's so unhealthy, because if I expect perfection from him and I'm not perfect myself, then I'm being a hypocrite. Even if it's not being a hypocrite, it's setting myself up for heartbreak. It's setting myself up for frustrations. So what do you expect from your man? What do you expect from your woman? Like how's communication going to be done moving forward? You know, I remember talking to one woman of God, my mentor, and she was saying that, you know what, the issue is that you have not really communicated what you want. You want to be talking the whole day. He's got work to do, you know. So you need to have conversation around these things. You know, like finances. I know that single people sometimes, they don't really go into this area, but what do you expect? For example, if one of you is working, the other one is not, how are you going to handle that area of your life? It cannot be a gray area. Sorry, a gray area is so fatal for assumption. It is so fatal for any sort of argument that can arise, because I'm assuming, you're assuming.
We're all assuming.
So like, how are you going to handle that area of your life? Of course, we're not saying that having a man or having a woman who's working now becomes your financial aid. But the honest truth is that at some point you will have to share. If someone is making more than the other, how does it make you feel, honestly? Otherwise, you'll be saying, hey, men are scared of successful women. But you're just not in line with what should be happening in this season.
Yeah, and I think this is so important, because men and women function differently. We think differently. We analyze differently. We plan differently. And unfortunately, too many of us have not come to that realization. And so there is maybe a lady, she expects him to know it all. She expects him to have it figured out. You should know that I want to get married in 2 years. You should know that I want the wedding to look like this. You should know that I don't want to have many kids. You should know all these things somehow, you know. And yet the men, generally, in many instances, we are very clear about the future, but there is so much that we are clueless about. Unless you literally sit us down, not sit us down as in sit down here, but as in we're having that conversation to say that, so what are your expectations about the future? So what are your expectations about us? Where do you see us in 2 years? And I think this is where now we need to help you decode this, especially to understand whose role is it to do this, because as women, you need to understand that it is your responsibility to hold this brother to account.
Come on.
There is a reason why, Eve was given as a helpmeet to Adam. It meant that everything that he was carrying, it was her responsibility to hold him to account, to hold him to check, right? Why? Because even though he was the head, whenever something was going to go wrong, it's not Eve that was going to be asked. It was Adam that was going to be asked. But it was her responsibility to help him to check all those boxes. A help suitable, right? A helpmate suitable, right? So, as a helper, it is your responsibility to put this brother in check. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. Why? Because not in a bossy way. Why? Because even his ability to accomplish all those good things. That's why the Bible tells us that whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Sometimes we spiritualize things too much, not realizing that that favor also is in your ability to just help him organize his life. There are so many men who appreciate their women. Why? Because when he met her, she asked him, so what are your goals? Where are you heading? Where are we going? What is your plan? And he helped him like, guys, I'm telling you, I was just playing around, but when I met her, I got my stuff in order. Before you know it, money has been taken somewhere. Before you know it, there is a wedding being planned. Why? Because this woman came in and asked him the important question.
Wow.
So women, it's very important that you play your role as the one who actually asks certain things. Like, what are express your expectations as well, so that your expectations are aligned. And remember, as men, we don't really like talking about some of these things. But guess what? We appreciate the value that they bring after we have actually ironed them out.
And I think as women, we really underestimate just how much power we have.
Yeah.
Of course, it should be operated with wisdom. Wisdom is such a principal thing. Like, they ate the apple. They ate the apple that God said you should not.
Don't eat the apple, eat everything else. Don't eat the shit. Just
this is good.
My brother, apple, you dare eat now. And we ate the apple.
Yeah, so basically we mustn't really go into this place where we're always playing victim. Like, for me, sometimes I feel that what has delayed a lot of women, or what has frustrated a lot of women, is feeling like we are powerless. But we are not.
Not at all.
We are not.
At all.
Like we said in the previous video, just go back and watch it. You are the one who says yes.
Yeah.
If you say no, nothing is moving forward.
True.
That is power right there. It means that you can determine the sort of person that you're going to follow, the person who's going to lead you. You can determine, Kuti, this is a vision that I want to get under.
Yeah.
So number 5, finally.
Number 5.
Inability to grow together through seasons.
Yep.
You see,
so important as well.
Sometimes we learn to love people from one season, and as they transition, as they morph, as they become somebody else, we sometimes remain behind.
True.
And that's why there's a disconnect most times with couples. You'll be like, hey, you used to love me, you used to text me all the time, you used to do this all the time. But is the season that your person is in right now accommodative of that sort of lifestyle? Because if you fail to see that, for my friend in this season, they have to put in extra hours. For my friend in this season, this must happen for that to be birthed. You will find yourselves always arguing about things that shouldn't be even on the table for a start. So inability to grow together through seasons means that I'm over here, Pastor P is in the next yard, and we're trying to whisper to each other. You're trying to, lovey-dovey, but the person is over there, they can't hear you. There's a wall separating the two of you. You must be able to see what are the needs for my friend in this season. What does this mean? The stretch that they are going through, what does it mean for me? What demands are there for me right now? Because if we fail to do that, we will have so much to complain about. But basically what we needed to do was grow together.
Very true. And I think as we are talking of growing together, we need to understand that we can only grow together when we individually take responsibility for our growth. There's only so much that I'm able to do in order to help you to grow, and there's only so much that you are also able to do in order to help me grow, unless I take responsibility, I take ownership of that, in order for me to say, I don't want to be here next year. I don't want to be here 5 years from now. What do I need to do? Is it a school that I need to enroll into? Are there books that I need to read? Is it someone that I need to, be accountable to, that will help to stretch me? So we often fail to realize how far we have come apart when one person within the relationship is not responsible for their growth.
Sure.
And I think as women especially, it's important for you to realize that, you know, your hunger for growth, I don't think it comes as natural as the men's desire to continuously evolve. So it means that you have to be deliberate so that now we are the man, your husband, or your husband is not talking about is talking about, you know, multi-million-dollar ideas, and you are still there thinking about things that are not at that level. You know, in as much as you love each other, in as much as you have a really good relationship, but because of that disconnect, you know, it will seem as if what is good is actually turning sour. And also we grow in seasons, guys. We don't remain the same. And if you are not able to understand the needs of your partner within a particular season, it will be very frustrating for both of you, because it's like you are trying to get something from the place that you know you're supposed to get, you know, your encouragement, your support. And every time you reach out, it's just not there. It's like you're reaching in the dark. Why? Because your friend is not positioned to help you in that season. So it's very important to really understand, like, what season is my husband in? What season is my wife in? What season are we in as we are courting? You know, is he in school? Is he in business? So how can I position myself? Is she in school? Is she pursuing her career? How can I position?
Have a baby?
Did she just have a baby?
Did we just have a baby?
Yeah. How can I position myself so that within this season I can continue to be of value and we grow together?
Wow.
So that's it.
That's it from us. I personally really enjoyed this video.
Let
So
us
much
know your thoughts
learned.
as well.
Let us know your thoughts. Leave
In
us
the
your
sum-
comments.
in the comments.
If you're just here to watch, consider subscribing.
Please.
Share this link with your friends. You know, invite. We'll see you in the next video. We
So
love you
before
so
we
much.
go, as our Love, Faith, and Passion family, your family, right? So we just want to let you know that we do have an addition to the family. Our baby girl joined us. Ariel is her name. Mutawashe is her other name. So let us know if you want us to explain what those names mean. Let us know. So but
don't
really
use
excited.
Google to translate Shona, guys. I blundered with my father-in-law. I'll tell you one day.
No, we bless God. God has been so good to us. Our baby is doing well. Mother is doing well, as you can see. So
God is so good, guys.
We love you guys. Until the next video. See you soon.
God bless you.